Record. Okay, everyone, welcome to the Astrology of November 2025. We are almost toward the end of the year. And let me just check. Can you guys see the screen or no? No, okay. Let me hold on 1 second. Sometimes it takes a couple tries. So hold tight, everyone. Take 2. Okay, now we should be able to see the screen. Okay, great, with all of our transits. So starting today, November 1st, we actually don't have anything major happening today. There aren't any exact aspects happening today, but you can see, as we're just kind of looking at things, we've got a lot of blue, the dark blue, which represents water. We have a lot of planets in water signs right now. Okay, so Scorpio, we've got Jupiter in Cancer, and we've got Neptune and Saturn back in Pisces. We've got the North Node in Pisces. The moon today is in Pisces. But yeah, there's a lot of water, and this water really sticks around for pretty much the whole month. So my overall assessment of November, I think it's going to be emotional. Whether that's personally or collectively, I think some of us maybe are going to have a strong emotional connection with someone, or we're going to have a vulnerable conversation with someone, or we're just going to have a lot of feelings about things. We might be more sensitive than we usually are. Our moods might even fluctuate more than normal. We could, be in a really good mood 1 minute and then we're bummed out the next. It's kind of like emotional though, emotions in all different forms. So, and just water in general. So I'm thinking, maybe we're going to see headlines having to do with things related to water, ocean things about rivers, storms could happen. Even like maybe, flooding, something like that, which hopefully isn't devastating in any way, but that's literally the reflection, right? As above, so below. There's a lot of water going on. So we could see that reflected right here on Earth in the collective. So now let's move to where things really get started. Okay, tomorrow we have our first transit of the month, which is going to be Venus, Venus in Libra. We've still got her in Libra for a couple more days. And I'm trying to get this exact. Here we go. Okay, so tomorrow, Venus in Libra making a square to Jupiter in Cancer. Okay, so square aspects, we know that's usually tension. That's these two planets. They're not getting along as well. So there might be things that come up that are a little bit more challenging. Okay, and most likely could have to do with relationships, right? Venus is our planet of relationships. So maybe, to me, the Jupiter part, because Jupiter overdoes things sometimes. Jupiter likes to go big, but Jupiter can sometimes go too big. So I'm thinking this is something, maybe you overpromise something, maybe someone overpromised you something, maybe you accidentally, booked too many social engagements and you've got all these things going on and you realize you're exhausted and you don't have time to see all these people. It could also be just a feeling of overwhelm in general in your life, maybe emotional overwhelm, relationship overwhelm, even family overwhelm. Maybe there's just a lot going on in your personal relationships. So yeah, that's the biggest thing for tomorrow. Also, Venus can represent finances as well, right? Like resources, our money. So Jupiter can tempt us tomorrow to maybe splurge on something or overspend our money, make a purchase that's maybe a little too big. So if anyone's going shopping tomorrow, just be a little bit mindful of like, what's realistic? What should I realistically be spending right now? Because I don't want to all of a sudden have a regret because I spent too much money on this thing. Okay, good. So then on Monday, we have Mars in Scorpio, okay, making a trine aspect to Neptune. Okay, Neptune and Pisces, you can see 29 degrees and 29 degrees, both in water. That means these planets are helping each other. They're getting along on this day. So this is, I kind of described it in the newsletter as finding calmness in the chaos. Like we are able to quiet down a little bit, listen to our instincts, really focus on what is the most important thing for me to focus on right now in this timeline. What is my soul saying to me? What was my heart saying to me during this time? And how can I be channeling my energy also into things that are positive? How can I use my energy as a source of compassion, as a source of, helpfulness, of service, of, supporting someone else in some way? And, Neptune too does have a little bit to do with, sacrifice. So it's kind of like, what can I give up that's going to benefit someone else? Is a nice interpretation of this energy for tomorrow. Yeah, but it's really good tomorrow, just like getting quiet and just listening to your instincts. Ask whatever question you need to ask and just listen to that little voice within. What is your gut telling you to do? What's the direction your soul wants to be moving in? Okay, then we have November 4th. November 4th, okay, this is a one we might want to circle, okay? This is a big day. First, we have Mars moving into Sagittarius, okay, leaving behind Scorpio, going to Sagittarius, where it's going to be through December 15th, okay, if anybody wants to know that. And now with this happening, with Mars going into Sagittarius, you can see it's also going to be directly across from Uranus, okay? Uranus in Gemini, Mars and Sagittarius directly opposite each other, okay? Which, again, that's tension. There is some tension between these planets, and Mars and Uranus both have very strong identities, very strong energies, right? Mars, literally our planet of action, of war, of aggression, right? Like literally has a little point on his head, right? He's sharp, he's cutting through things, right? Assertive, strong. And we've got Uranus, planet of disruption, of breakthroughs, of chaos, very high intensity, electric energy, okay? Uranus is literally symbolized by like a bolt of lightning, okay? So we can kind of already get a sense, oh, Mars and Uranus squaring off with each other, okay? This is literally explosive energy, okay? The last few times we've had Mars-Uranus aspects this year, there's been some kind of, unfortunately, an attack, an explosion. At the very beginning of the year, the Mars-Uranus energy was, the person driving their car through the streets of New Orleans, running over people, just awful. But that can be the manifestation of Mars and Uranus, some catastrophic accident, some unnecessary violence. Okay, so this is a day where, yeah, in the headlines, we could see something, or this is the day the United States goes to war with Venezuela, but that could be what this is about. So personally, yeah, we just want to be a little more cautious. In general, too, this is just accident-prone energy. Okay, so we don't want to be speeding, driving too fast. We want to be looking around in the parking lot. We want to be extra careful if we're chopping vegetables. We want to look where we're walking, just those little mindful things where we're just being a little more cautious of our surroundings. That's what we can take with us personally for this day. But then getting back to Mars in Sagittarius, okay, like I said, through December 15th. So we've got about a little over a month of this energy, which is really good for, yeah, taking care of things, doing that thing you've been putting off, okay? Because Sagittarius is fiery. It's a fire sign. Mars likes being in fire signs. It's helpful for Mars to be able to, okay, I've got this fiery energy. I can make that decision. I can make that choice. I can chase that goal. Also, it is a bit of the risk taker. Okay. So you can think too, is there, something I've been holding back on, something that's kind of scared me a little bit, but it's also kind of, excites me in a way or is exciting to me. What move can I start to make toward that thing? What risk, big or small, can this Mars and Sagittarius energy help me with? This is also really good energy, literally for activities. Mars loves to be active, so does Sagittarius, but more so like outdoors. Like this is where it's great to, yeah, we're going to bundle up. If it's cold, we're going to go for a hike we've been wanting to go on, or we're going to go for a bike ride, or we're going to go horseback riding, or whatever it is. But like exploring things in nature, outdoors, going for long walks even, that's a really good use of Mars and Sagittarius. Conflict wise, because Mars also does have to do with conflicts, and Sagittarius being the sign of philosophies and law, yeah, we could have some conflicts with others, maybe about our personal beliefs, or maybe about our religious beliefs, or about our personal philosophies, or maybe, yeah, but hopefully no one that I'm talking to is in any legal battles right now, but lawsuit issues could definitely come up if it does have to do with Sagittarius. So hopefully that's not coming up for anyone, but it is possible with this transit. Okay, now we're going to get to see, look, we're only on November 5th and so much is happening. Okay, on the 5th, we have our full moon, okay? Full moon in Taurus. And that is going to be at 13 degrees. So let's get it exact. Okay, so it's going to be, right, the sun at 13 degrees Scorpio and the moon at 13 degrees Taurus. So if you have any planets, okay, around, 12, 13, 14 degrees of the fixed signs, Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius, okay, you're going to feel this moon the most intensely. The rest of us, sure, we can feel it, but it's just going to be strongest for those signs, for those degrees. So the full moon in Taurus really is when our resources and values get highlighted, okay? Because Taurus rules what we own, what we value, also how we feel about ourselves, our own self-worth, our own self-value. So this is a time where, yeah, financial things could come to the light. We could have to make a financial decision around this time. We also might be, confronted with something that does have to do with our values. Maybe either someone is bringing out something good about, our values, we have something in common, or maybe we realize someone in our life, you know what, I really don't share the same values with this person anymore. And, maybe that's a sign that it's time to, let this relationship go. So for some people, this can be, maybe you've got to make a purchase around this time, or maybe money is going to come to you around this time. Maybe you're going to sell something, or you're going to get a check in the mail from something that you didn't even know was coming. That could definitely be a possibility. And for some people too, this is about putting yourself first, and really, again, looking at relationships. Is there any relationship in my life that just feels controlling or toxic? Because that's kind of the Scorpio playing into this. Scorpio can bring out, right, those more shadowy, darker qualities, like control, jealousy, extreme possessiveness, okay, in relationships. So if you feel like that's a work situation or it's a personal relationship situation, this full moon in Taurus is a good time to like release that, to let that thing go. Okay. Now, also, whenever we're looking at the moons, we also want to look at what planet is ruling this moon. Okay, so Venus rules Taurus. So we're going to see what's going on with Venus on this day. She's still in Libra, so that's good. She's home in Libra, but she is getting a slight square. It's not exact, but still that square from Jupiter that was exact a few days before, and a little bit of a square from Pluto. So she is feeling a little bit of pressure today. So again, that kind of makes me think, yeah, a relationship thing could come up today. Some sort of relationship thing that needs to be dealt with could come up. And that could be anything from a coworker, someone you're in a relationship with, a family member, any kind of close relationship could have to be or could be confronted with something today that needs to be resolved. Okay, moving to the 6th. Okay, November 6th, we have Venus leaving behind. Oops, I'm gonna let someone in here. Leaving behind Libra. Welcome in, Mary. Good to have you.
Yes, hello.
You haven't missed much. We're only on November 6th because there's a lot going
Okay.
on this month.
Yes, I'm sure.
Okay, so the 5th, or excuse me, the 6th, Venus moves into Scorpio, where she is going to be through November 30th. Okay, so almost till the end of the month. Venus in Scorpio, technically not her favorite sign to be in because it's opposite of Taurus, okay, one of her home signs. So when she's in Scorpio, she can feel burdened, very, kind of uncomfortable because Scorpio is really about, yeah, doing that deep, deep shadow work, deep emotional work. And taking life a little more seriously, where Venus, she prefers to just kind of have things be fun, go to parties, eat good food, laugh, dance. She likes to kind of be on the bright side of things. But in Scorpio, okay, we've got to get a little more serious. We've got to deal with kind of more, heavier things. So, but what's good about this is it is good for our relationships in terms that, yeah, we can have those more vulnerable emotional conversations with others. This energy is very supportive of that. This is like the perfect time, to bare our souls to the people we care about without the fear of them thinking differently of us or rejecting us or anything like that. This is a time where our honesty, complete emotional honesty, is welcome. Okay, it's supported. And this is a really good time to build intimacy in your relationships. Okay, don't fear getting closer to someone. Embrace getting closer to someone. That's what Venus in Scorpio, okay, is all about. Venus in Scorpio too can also be about merging resources. So this can be, maybe it's a business deal with someone, or maybe, well, for some people, it can literally be like getting an inheritance or getting some debt paid off. So that's another good thing about Venus in Scorpio is she does like to share resources or attract resources from other places. What else can we say about Venus in Scorpio? Scorpio also rules sexuality. Okay, so this is a time too where you might want to, put on that dress that makes you feel a little more sexy, or kind of, explore more of like, yeah, what do you like in your physical intimacy? Embrace that. It's like embracing, that more sexual side of yourself. Okay, then we go to November, 7th. Okay, November 7th, we have Uranus station retrograde. And let's get that exact. Oh, well, wait. Okay, you can see the little RX here next to Uranus. Yes, so Uranus stations retrograde on the 7th and will, for the most part, be retrograde it's like a teeny bit in Gemini, but overall, this retrograde, oh, I'm sorry, you guys. No, this is what I'm trying to say. Uranus has been retrograde in Gemini. This is when Uranus goes retrograde into Taurus. There we go. This is what we want, okay? Uranus is now in the retrograde phase back in Taurus, okay, where it has been for the last 7 years. So this is Uranus's last retrograde in the sign of Taurus for 84 years, okay? So these specific dates, November 7th through February 3rd, are going to be important because we're going to see things financially, like globally, not so much personally, but this is more about the collective, about specifically about cryptocurrency, okay? Because that was the biggest currency advance that happened in the last 7 years. And whenever Uranus is in Taurus, yeah, we usually get a new kind of currency. But again, only happens about every 84 years. But in retrograde, right, is always about reviewing, reflecting, okay? So, or like reworking something. So whatever has been going on with, and I really don't know anything about it, I choose not to, but cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, right, these NFTs, all these like digital currencies, they are going to be under scrutiny and review for the next few months. And we're going to find out, I think, if they really are a viable form of currency. And are they going to be permanent? Are they going to follow us, you know, into the future, or will they kind of fizzle out? That's the biggest thing we're going to see with Uranus retrograde in Taurus. But also, you know, this can have to do with agriculture. Okay, so maybe, right, things like recalls, right? That's a very retrograde word. So maybe there's going to be recalls on more produce, or something happened with a crop and they have to replant it, or, you know, again, recall on even, right, like on beef, on lamb, on certain kind of meats, because that's also has to do with Taurus. Climate change, you know, issues could also come up with Uranus and Taurus. Hopefully not another right huge catastrophe situation, but it is possible. And then too, you know, personally, you can look in your own chart. Where is Taurus, right? What house is Taurus in? Because that the themes of that house can be activated, okay, during this retrograde. So, right, if you've got Uranus in, or excuse me, Taurus in your 10th house, okay, there might be some career things that come up for you, maybe some reworking, some reflecting, maybe you're going to be reapplying to another position. If Taurus rules your 7th house, right, there's some relationship work that might come up. Okay, now also on this day, we're going to have, and actually it happened a little bit earlier when it's exact, but we have Venus. Well, okay, but it's going to be when Venus is at 1 degrees. But Venus in Scorpio square Pluto in Aquarius, okay? Square tension, okay? So again, November 8th, now we're on November 8th, there's tension between Venus and Pluto. Again, this is relationship stuff. This is dealing with maybe a person who is controlling or jealous or very possessive or manipulative. That could be the dynamic of this day. And again, it could be someone you know very well, could be someone you've just met, but you just get the sense that like, I don't fully trust this person. I feel like they're just kind of giving me very, very strange energy. They feel manipulative, or they feel like they're trying to control me or take advantage of me in some way. That's kind of the energy with Pluto, Pluto and Venus. Also, it can be a little bit dangerous. It's kind of because it is that darker kind of Scorpio energy, a little dangerous in like unfamiliar, what do I want to say? Like unfamiliar environments. So this is a day you don't want to go to some place you've never been before, some neighborhood you've never been to. So you don't want to go anywhere unfamiliar on this day, because it's just more likely that, you're going to get your purse stolen, or, something like that. So just again, be a little more cautious around the 8th. Okay. And it is Venus too. So especially us as women, okay, we need to just be a little more aware of our surroundings. Okay, on the 9th, we have one of our big transits of the month, Mercury retrograde. By the way, there are lots of retrogrades this month. But this is our Mercury retrograde. Let's get it. There we go. Okay, so Mercury in Sagittarius stations retrograde. It's going to be retrograde through November 21st. Okay, the 9th through the 21st, which actually is pretty quick for a Mercury retrograde. So that's the good thing. It's only like 2.5 weeks. But this one is heavy on the travel issues. Okay, Mercury retrograde in general, right, is known for causing travel, right, delays, mix-up, cancellations, all that kind of stuff. But especially in Sagittarius, because Sagittarius literally rules travel, long distance travel, especially. So especially if you have plans to go abroad between November 9th and the 21st, just be prepared for travel mishaps, for things getting canceled or delayed or rescheduled. You'd want to, and any kind of traveling too, even if you're just, taking a 2-hour flight somewhere, or you're driving somewhere, just double check everything. Make sure you have the tickets you need. Make sure you have, the ID that you need, or if you need your passports, double check all of that stuff. Double check, your hotel bookings. Make sure you've got backup, right, phone chargers, any of that kind of stuff, because Mercury retrogrades can also make technology kind of, funky. Things can break more easily. Your phone could break, your computer could break. There could be, right, again, some kind of cyber hack where, oh, now I can't get my email, or now I can't access whatever this website is. So that's always what we just want to be aware of, right, with Mercury retrogrades. Also, sometimes it can bring people from our past. So if you run into someone you haven't seen in a long time, that can also be a Mercury retrograde thing. Let's see. Also, yeah, communication in general. We just want to be very thorough with our communication. It's more likely that people are going to misunderstand us, or our message isn't going to get delivered and we think it did, but it didn't, and the person has no idea. You just want to, again, double check things, make sure you're not writing something to Julie and you accidentally send it to Jamie, right? And then everybody gets upset because you sent the wrong message. Those are just the main things with Mercury retrograde. But two, if you are Virgo rising or Gemini rising, okay, those rising signs are very sensitive to Mercury retrograde, because it's literally the ruler of your whole chart. So if you're Gemini or Virgo rising, just remember you got to be like extra on top of things during Mercury retrograde. Also, we want to try not to start anything new during Mercury retrograde. Mercury retrograde is not good for launching something, starting something. It's a time where whatever we've already started, let's review it. Let's refine it. Let's, make it as strong as it can be. And then when the retrograde is over, then we can either finish it, send it out, or we can then start whatever new thing we want to start. But obviously, if you have to start something new, you have to. There's obviously, we can't just not do things. But try not to if you can. If there are things that can wait, let's allow those things to wait. Last thing, you want to avoid signing any serious documents. Okay. Not a great time, like even like signing a lease on a car, that kind of thing. Try to wait until after the retrograde if you can. If you can't, it's okay, but it's just better to wait if you can. Okay, the 11th. The 11th, we have our quarter moon. Okay, our first quarter moon, which is going to be the sun in Scorpio, moon in Leo. Okay, this is a day where we might have to like swallow our pride. We might have to sacrifice something, even maybe feels like it hurts our ego in some ways, but it's like this is the day you kind of have to do the right thing despite what your ego wants to do. There can also be power struggles on this day. Scorpio and Leo, both very stubborn signs, both want to be in charge, both want to, be the person that has the last word. So just be aware of that. And that can be in a work setting, a family setting, or even maybe if you're running errands, you could have a power struggle with someone in public. Probably not, but could happen. So just know though that if you do have to, swallow your pride, be the bigger person, there is a positive lesson in that. Oh, actually, on the 11th, hold on, not so fast. On the 11th, we're also going to have Jupiter station retrograde. Okay, I told you we have lots of retrograde stuff happening this month. Now, Jupiter is going to be retrograde until March 10th. Okay, and again, retrograde periods are about reflecting, reviewing, reassessing, redoing things having to do with whatever the planet and the sign is. Okay, so for Jupiter in Cancer, we're really like reflecting on our family relationships, our connection to our home, our living situation. It's really a time to reflect on those things. Also, how well are we taking care of ourselves? Okay, Cancer is literally the sign that is the caretaker, the nurturer. And this can have to do with, yes, how well am I taking care of the people who rely on me in my life? Or how well am I taking care of myself? It's a good time to do a check-in on that. And maybe if you're like, wow, I haven't done anything nice for myself in a really long time. Okay, now is the time to like focus on that. And this is also, more collectively too. And in the newsletter, I kind of mentioned that for like countries or for the collective, it's a reviewing of like healthcare systems, security systems for people. So I think for the United States, who also has Jupiter in Cancer in its natal chart, there's going to be a reviewing of all this stuff. Things that we've already been hearing about, right? Like Medicaid, Medicare, health insurance, Social Security. I think there's going to be a lot of review about where that stands in the United States. And hopefully, when Jupiter goes direct again in March, we have something positive that comes out of that. That's what I'm hoping. So yeah, you can also too look at what house is Cancer in your chart, because that can be the area of life where, yeah, it's going to be good to do some reviewing for you. Okay, now on the we're also still on the 12th. Mercury and Mars. Okay, yes, we also have this Mercury and Mars conjunction. Okay, Mercury and Mars lining up in Sagittarius. This is a day, I'm just going to say what I wrote in the newsletter because it's funny. but I wrote, I hope you're ready to hear the absolute saltiest truth, because that's what's being served today. Meaning this energy, it's not going to sugarcoat the truth for you. There's going to be something that some news you could learn, a message you could get, an exchange, a conversation with someone where it's going to be very blunt. It's going to be very almost like brutally honest. Okay. It's not going to be something that's going to be like the sweet, calm, nice way of getting that information. It's going to be like, oh, okay, that felt like a slap in the face. Because that's, for one, that's Mars and Mercury getting together, but that's also, that's also Sagittarius. Sagittarius can be very blunt and very direct. It's not really worried if it's going to hurt your feelings or not. It's going to tell you the truth regardless. And Mars and Mercury in general, too, when they get together, it can be some kind of, you might have a verbal argument with someone, because that's just that combative part of Mars. Might, either someone picks a fight with you, or you might feel like telling someone, what you really think. I would advise, though, if you are in that situation, maybe, taking a beat first, taking 10 minutes to just gather your thoughts, calm down a little bit before just immediately reacting. Because then you might say something you wish you could take back. Okay, now we're going to move to the 16th. The 16th is our Sun in Scorpio making a nice trine to Saturn in Pisces. And that's actually, where is that? And we actually kind of have what's starting, it is a grand trine. November 16th and 17th, it's actually the Sun making a trine to Jupiter and also making a trine to Saturn. So you can see all these planets are at 25 degrees, 25, 25, 25, all in water. So they're making a perfect triangle. Okay, we call this a grand trine. It is in water signs. Like I said, we have a lot of water energy this month. So this is all these planets working together, which is nice. This is actually November 16th and 17th, good energy. This is a day, again, maybe you want to circle it and like be like, oh, this is a day I want to do something nice. Because the energy is really good for this day. This energy is really good for connecting with others, with even our intuition is very activated as well during this time. So again, like, what are your instincts telling you? What is your intuition telling you? Listening to that little voice inside. What is it saying? It's also very compassionate and caring energy and healing energy. Water heals. So this is a day, if you want to do some journaling or you want to offer forgiveness to someone or even to yourself, it's a really nice day to do that. With the Saturn part, we also have like a lot of an ability to like focus. This is really good for like getting that thing you've been putting off, that thing that seems like, oh, that's not going to be fun. It's going to take forever. Do it on this day. It's going to feel much easier if you do it around this time, because Saturn and the Sun and Jupiter are helping each other out. Jupiter is also helping the hard things have some cushion, have some ease, have some flow, so they don't feel as hard. And the Jupiter part, also Jupiter in positive aspects is so generous. This is a nice day to either gather with people that you love, or even just one person that you care about, go to lunch or cook someone a meal, but do something where you're able to share generosity with someone. And it's going to come back to you and it's going to feel really nice. Yeah, and also, I would also say too, if you're a person that has like a lot of vivid dreams, pay attention to your dreams this night. Because again, this water, very spiritual, very intuitive. You could get, some messages coming through. If you work with oracle cards or tarot cards, you could also do a card pull on this day and probably get some pretty profound messages. Okay, then we have on the 18th. On the 18th, okay, Mercury still retrograde, but now slipping back into Scorpio. Okay, so remember we did have Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius. Now Mercury is retrograde in Scorpio, where it's going to be through November 29th. Okay, is when we're going to have, well, that's Mercury in Scorpio the whole time, not retrograde the whole time. It's only retrograde till the 21st. So just a few more days with Mercury retrograde in Scorpio. This could be arguments about money, arguments about, yeah, business related things, shared resources. This could be like, this is a time too where you want to double check your purchases, double check your bank statements, make sure you didn't get accidentally charged for something. Okay, because Scorpio does have to do with money in that regard. So just be aware and it's only for a couple days of this retrograde in Scorpio. And then we get to our new moon of the month, okay, which is a very interesting new moon we have. Oops, because, okay, so here's our new moon at 28 degrees Scorpio. So, right, again, if you are a person who has planets around 27, 28, 29 degrees of the fixed signs, okay, Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius, you are more directly impacted by the energy of this moon. You're going to feel it a little more intensely. But you can see not only do we have the sun and the moon lined up at 28 degrees, we also have Mercury here at 28 degrees. And yeah, this is more uncommon. It's more unique when we have 3 planets all line up at the exact same degree. It does not happen very often. So we're adding Mercury into this story. So yes, very deep conversations could happen around this new moon. Or it's a great time to initiate a deep conversation if you need to have one of those. But it's like, again, very honest, very vulnerable energy. And yeah, that Mercury, right, communication is really allowing us to just like express everything we've been holding on to. It's like, say the thing you've needed to say and then let it go. You don't have to carry it around with you anymore. Okay, really good for release. And actually, also, like, this is a day you can speak what you want into existence. This is really good for using your words to manifest what you want. And new moons, right? The new moon always has to do with manifesting anyway. It's always about setting a new intention, planting a new seed. Okay. So this is a day, don't feel crazy, but just like say out loud, what do you want to see happen in your life? What's the most important thing? Speak it to whoever you want, to a spirit, to a god, to a goddess, to the universe, whoever you want to talk to. Tell them what you want and say thank you. Always say thank you, but be very clear, be very specific. But this is very powerful energy for speaking what you want into existence. Okay. And the new moon in Scorpio, also interesting, because like I said, new moons, right, are about setting intentions, new beginnings. But Scorpio is also about release. It's about like letting that thing go that's not helping you anymore, or that's become toxic, or that's become unhealthy, or that's become a burden to you. So on this day, yeah, we want to set intentions, but at the same time, we want to release anything that we've been holding on to that we don't want to carry anymore. And you can say it out loud, or if it's something that you need to end, whether it's canceling something, or quitting a job, or, whatever it is, whatever you need to let go of. This is still a good time to do that. Now you can also see that right across the way from all these from the sun, moon, and Mercury is Uranus, okay, in Taurus at 29 degrees. So not exactly at 28, but still pretty close. So Uranus across from these three planets, surprises. Uranus could give us something unexpected this day. This is like, oh, this is the plot twist. Like, I thought everything was going to go this way. Whoa. And then I got this information, and now I've got to rethink how I'm going to do it. And again, this might not happen to everyone on a personal level, but I would think something in the headlines this day could be some kind of surprise, some kind of new information. Could be even be something that's like a little shocking, like, wow, that I didn't see that coming. So yeah, this moon is very interesting. Definitely an interesting moon. So around the 19th, we'll keep an eye on what happens around the 19th. Okay, and then the next day is when we do have the exact opposition, okay, of Uranus and the sun. So now we've got, yeah, 29 and 29. So now they are directly facing off again. Same thing as what I kind of said before. Some kind of surprise on this day, some kind of thing that we didn't necessarily see coming, something that could be disruptive, because that can be Uranus, right? A little chaotic, a little disruptive. Something could come up personally. This could also be something, yeah, like an earthquake or some kind of natural disaster, or right, like I said, there's a big recall on the hamburger meat. You know, they've got to throw away 100,000 pounds of hamburger meat. Something, you know, kind of like that, where people have to readjust in a way. This could also have to do with the financial markets, stock markets, something like that. There could be a huge surge or a crash, or it could go the opposite way. With Taurus, especially with Taurus and Scorpio, because they both have ties to money and resources. So this will be interesting. Personally, too, though, this could be a day where we just feel like being spontaneous. This is a day that's like, it's kind of restless energy. It's like, I just want to do something different. I want to do something fun. I want to do something I haven't done before. This is a good day to, like, don't go to the coffee shop you always go to. Go to a different coffee shop. Don't go to the same grocery store you always go to, or don't, you know, change up something on this day. That's a good use of this energy. Like, let yourself be pleasantly surprised. Okay, and then later on this same day, okay, now we're going to be moving out of Scorpio season and into Sagittarius. Okay, any minute now. Come on, sun. We're on the 21st. Here we go. Okay, on the 21st, the sun now moves into Sagittarius. Sagittarius is going to feel like a breath of fresh air after all of this watery Scorpio energy that we've had. I mean, we still have a lot of planets in water, but the sun moving into Sagittarius is going to bring us a little bit out of that really intense emotional energy, okay? Because Sagittarius, right? Sagittarius, the most optimistic sign. Okay, Sagittarius is about optimism. It's about looking to what's next. It's about, where can I find excitement and joy in my life? Where can I start appreciating all the things I have in my life, right? Showing like gratitude, right? So that's why, you know, it's going to feel good to get to Sagittarius season, because then we get to focus on the things that excite us, the things that motivate us, the things we feel positive about, right? And Sagittarius too is the sign of growth, of like our personal growth. So this is a time where it's really good to like learn new things, or enroll in a class, or get that book you've been wanting to read, or, you know, go to a lecture about a topic you've been really interested in. It's like, how can I expand my mind during this time? Or even things like cooking new recipes, things like that too, if you're someone that likes to cook, or trying a new hobby, going to Maybe you've always wanted to learn how to knit or how to do watercolor or, something like that. Good. Try it during Sagittarius season. Push yourself. See where you can grow. Okay. Also Sagittarius, right? The adventurer. So yeah, exploring, whether you can go, if you can go on an actual trip, great, or a weekend trip, great. But if it's even just something locally you can do, good. Go explore, go to a different neighborhood, go to the next town over, go try a new restaurant you've never tried before. Okay, all of that is so supported by Sagittarius. And when you do those things, they're going to be very rewarding experiences because that's what's supported during this time. Else can we say about Sagittarius? Yeah, I mean, it's also too, developing, your spiritual practice if you want to do that. Sagittarius is connected, right, to religion, spirituality, divinity. Again, maybe if like, oh, I've actually wanted to learn more about tarot, or I want to learn more about astrology, or, those kinds of things. Great. This is a great time to indulge those things. Okay, you've done that, we've done that. Oh, and I am going to read a Sagittarius quote that I also put in the newsletter. Find ecstasy in life. The mere sense of living is joy enough. Okay, very Sagittarius. Just like finding the joy in life. This is Emily Dickinson. Okay, she had her sun, Mercury, and Venus in Sagittarius. Okay, so it's like just life itself has so much joy in it. Make sure you're finding the joy just in your everyday life. Okay, on the 22nd, oops. Okay, this is where we are getting again we have more grand trines. Remember we had the first one when it was the sun, Saturn, and Jupiter all working together. Now we're going to have a similar thing, but with Mercury, okay? Mercury in Scorpio, Jupiter in Cancer, Saturn in Pisces, okay? And you can even see these blue triangles in the middle, okay? Those represent the trines. And then it's also loosely making a trine to Neptune as well. But the core is the Saturn, Jupiter, okay, and Mercury. So this, again, really good for in-depth conversations, emotional conversations, socializing, learning new things, especially like healing exercises, like healing work, like maybe you want to start seeing a therapist or you already do see a therapist, but you're going to have a session on this day, or you want to do some, shadow work. You want to do, some journal writing. You want to do some deep meditations that are, guided meditations. You could even do past life regressions. You could do healing meditations. But this energy is so supportive for that. And also, too, I mean, if you're a creative in any way, this is really nice, creative, imaginative energy, too, especially for things like writing or poetry, okay, or even like, making things with your hands like jewelry or, again, right, painting or sculpting or anything creative. This is really nice use of that energy as well. And bonus points if you have anything in water signs around 25, 24 degrees. Okay, if that's you, this is like really activating your chart in a really positive way. Okay, because remember, it's flow. Things feel easier during this time. Okay, then we have the 24th. On the 24th, we are going to have our Venus-Mercury conjunction. Okay, Venus and Mercury lining up. And this is pleasant. This is, again, pleasant conversations. This is things going very smoothly. You're getting along with people. If you have to, ask a favor of someone or something, it's likely, you're going to get a good answer. This is a good day too to send out, like, if you want to apply to a new job or some kind of opportunity, this is a really nice day to do it. Also just to like gather, to socialize on this day. It's going to be very supportive of that. And again, anything artistic, because now we've got Mercury and Venus teaming up. Also good for anything creative, you know, writing, drawing, painting, sculpting, you know, whatever you want to create. This is very nice artistic energy. Ooh, or even like redecorating. Maybe you're more of a designer and you're like, you know what? Yeah, I want to get, you know, some new artwork for the walls, or I'm going to redecorate the bedroom. Let me go to the store and pick up some things. This is a nice day to have that kind of project. Okay, and then on the 26th, 25th, well, 25th and 26th, okay? Now it's Venus's turn. Now Venus is going to align with Jupiter and Saturn. So again, that grand trine getting activated, very supportive. This is excellent for relationships because it's the Venus part. Excellent for relationships, for socializing, for meeting people, for even if you have to, you know, have any kind of negotiations. This is a really nice time for that. But it's very healing. It's very generous. It's very sensitive energy. Yeah, so again, just doing things that bring you pleasure around these dates, this like little chunk of time, the end of November. It's just such supportive energy. And again, bonus points if you've got a planet in a water sign around 25, 24 degrees, because again, you're gonna like reap the most benefits from this transit. Okay, now on the 27th. The 27th, okay? 27th is our second quarter moon of the month, okay, which is going to be the moon in Pisces, making a square to Sun in Sagittarius, which this isn't the worst of like square energy. Pisces and Sagittarius, they have more in common than they disagree on. They're both very spiritual signs. So on one hand, yeah, this is good for any kind of spiritual practice, any kind of meditation, or like going to a yoga class, something like that. This energy is really good for. The only thing that could happen this day is, yeah, that Sagittarius honesty, right? We could blurt something out and then we feel bad. Then that Pisces moon kind of, then we feel guilty and we feel really bad because, oh, I shouldn't have said it like that. Maybe I hurt someone's feelings. So today we just want to be a little mindful of what we're saying and how we're saying it. We just want to make sure it's not like so blunt that, yeah, maybe it backfires on us. Okay, and also on the 27th, we are going to have Saturn, okay? Saturn is coming out of retrograde, okay? So Saturn has been retrograde since the middle of July, okay? So since this summer, but on November 27th, Saturn is coming out of retrograde, okay? This is a good thing, okay? Because now Saturn can get back to work doing what he does, which is setting boundaries. Okay. When Saturn's retrograde, it's a little bit hard, especially in Pisces. It's been harder to set boundaries the last few months. It's been harder to distinguish, right? Like this is this boundary, this is this. It's like everything's been kind of blurry and even like confusing, right? There might have been like for us personally or just right collectively, just like a lot of confusion. So Saturn stationing direct is going to help us again get more clear on our goals, have more clarity on what we're working on. You know, for some people too, maybe the last few months you were thinking about a lot of things. You were like, maybe I should start this, or this is the direction I want to go in, but I haven't been ready to start it yet. Saturn going direct, good for starting things. Okay, because Saturn is the builder. He likes to build projects. He likes to be productive. Okay, so now it's like those things that have just kind of been like floating around in our head or maybe have been stuck. Maybe you have been trying to do some projects to build some things, but they kept hitting roadblocks, kept getting stuck. Okay, that's Saturn retrograde. So now that Saturn is direct, we're going to have more flow with those projects, okay? It's going to be easier to get things done. Okay, and now we're almost done, you guys. I told you November had so much going on. Okay, yay, on the 29th, Mercury goes direct. Mercury is out of retrograde. We survived, oh, Mercury retrograde. I'm sorry, I said it was till the 21st. My apologies, till the 29th. It is the 29th, okay? Mercury will be retrograde until the 29th. Okay, so now Mercury will be direct in Scorpio through December 11th, which brings us back to, yeah, communication that is more honest. Again, it's maybe more emotionally charged. But it's also like Mercury in Scorpio is like the detective, the researcher. This is really good for like hyper fixating on something, like something that you really want to master, something that you really want to achieve, something that you really want to understand. This is good energy, Mercury and Scorpio, for that, for like mastering something, really learning a very specific thing. It's not for like, I'm going to read a bunch of different books. It's like, I'm going to read about this one thing and I'm really going to understand it really well. Yeah, that's the best thing for, yeah, like research projects. Be the researcher with Mercury and Scorpio. And then on this day, we also have our Venus-Uranus opposition. Okay, Venus at 29 Scorpio, Uranus at 29 Taurus. For some people, this could be sudden changes in relationships, sudden changes in finances. Like this could be a breakup that comes out of nowhere. Or this could also be you met someone out of nowhere. It's like, I never thought I was going to meet someone like that. And then you meet someone. Or, yeah, or a relationship suddenly comes to an end. Those are the biggest things with this transit. It's also, yeah, again, can have some of that Uranus spontaneity, like maybe wanting to do something different this day, mixing up your routine, maybe feeling more creative too. This can be very creative energy with Venus and Uranus. But those are the main things. Globally, yeah, this could be it could be a financial thing, something financial in the news, Bitcoin soars, or cryptocurrency crashes, or I don't know, the price of coffee surges, you know, something financial like that that's very like sudden, shocking, maybe a little disruptive. Okay, phew. We're almost done. This same day, Venus also makes a trine, okay? Positive aspect to Neptune. So on one hand, we have kind of the crazy Uranus thing going on, but then we also have Neptune. Neptune and Venus working together is very lovely. Again, it's very compassionate, very selfless. This is like just our hearts fully expanding, our empathy being really strong, our sensitivity being very strong. Also good for anything artistic, especially if it's related to music, or painting or poetry, but anything imaginative. Big emphasis too on like the imagination on this day. But yeah, it's a nice day to, you know, even do something like volunteer for a cause you care about, or make a donation to a cause you care about. This is really nice energy for that. Or to just help someone out that you know has been having a hard time. Maybe someone in your personal life that you know, yeah, they've been kind of having a rough time. I want to do something nice for them. This is really nice energy for that. And then the very last thing, okay, November 30th, Venus leaves Scorpio. Venus moves into Sagittarius, where she will be through December 25th. Okay, Venus in Sagittarius. This is again like very adventurous energy. This is about like if you are in a relationship, like plan some adventures with your partner, with your person, plan to go on that hike or take that trip or take that cooking class, whatever it is, but like infuse adventure into your relationships. Or, also too, if you're not in a relationship, if that's not your thing, or, go with a good friend, plan something fun to do with a good friend, some kind of adventure. Let's take a little road trip, or let's do this. Let's check out this place. Um, but doing new things with people, and also just engaging with the world around you in general. This is a really good time to put yourself out there if you haven't wanted to put yourself out there. This is supportive for like, okay, I know I need to like get out more. Good. Do it during Venus in Sagittarius. This is when you're more likely to meet people, and you're going to meet people who are uplifting, who are kind of this Sagittarius energy. You're more likely to meet people who are outgoing, who are adventurous, or maybe who are a different culture than you, or have a different background, or they're from a different country than you. You're more likely to meet those kind of people now. But definitely people that are optimistic, that are upbeat, that are like very supportive people. This can also be Venus, right? Wanting to spend money on experiences. Venus in Sagittarius doesn't want to buy stuff. She's like, no, I want to buy an experience. Maybe you're going to, plan a trip for next year, and you're going to make the first reservation for that. You're going to get that going. Or you're going to, yeah, sign up for lessons of some kind where you're going to learn something, but you're going to be, out engaging and having experiences. Okay, everyone. Ooh, and we're ending on 11/11. So that's a good sign. We love seeing 11/11, super positive numbers. Does anyone have any questions? Was there anything that you were like, oh, what is this going to do in my chart? Feel free to ask if you're curious. No, everyone's good. Okay. Okay, everyone. Well, thank you always
Thank you,
so much
Tara.
for attending, and thanks for hanging with me through this one, because again, I know I told you it was a lot. But yes, I wish everyone a very healing November. That's a big keyword for November, I think, is healing with all that lovely water energy. Okay. So until next time, take care,
Thank you.
everyone. You're
Thank
welcome.
you.